Hello everyone. Today we are going to read a new chapter. We are going to start a new chapter, that is how do organisms reproduce. I had already told you that a chapter which was control and coordination, it is already omitted by the CBSE for this year. So we are going to start this new chapter, which is chapter number 8, how do organisms reproduce. In this chapter, we are going to study about reproduction, which is a special biological process related with the production of a new generation of individuals of the same species. Though reproduction is not an essential process for the survival of an individual, it is essential for multiplication and continuation of the species. Now a question arises, what is reproduction? So reproduction may be defined as the production of new generation of individuals of the same species that are physically independent of their parents. The reproducing organisms create new individuals which look exactly similar to their parents. The similar copies of individuals are created by a very important process called DNA replication or DNA copying during cell division. DNA copying is an essential phenomenon of reproduction through which the organisms pass on their body design or feature to their offsprings. What is the importance of DNA copying in reproduction? DNA actually carries hereditary information not only for controlling cellular functions but also all the structural and functional traits of organisms. It is because of the latter that single-celled zygote is able to form the whole multicellular organism. During reproduction, there is formation of new cells which carry the same amount and type of hereditary information as present in the parent cell. This is accomplished by DNA copying which occurs prior to each cell division. DNA copying is not error proof. Errors give rise to variation, or you can say that if errors are there, this is the reason why we see different types of species or variations in our environment. Now, types of reproduction. So when we talk about types of reproduction, so all the reproductive methods of living organisms are broadly divided into two types. One is asexual reproduction and the second one is the sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, the new individuals are produced by any means other than the fusion of sex gametes. When we talk about sexual reproduction, on the other hand, it involves fusion of two sex gametes, one arising from male sex and the other from the female sex. First of all, we will read about asexual reproduction. When we talk about asexual reproduction, so it occurs in the following ways. I am taking some names of it: fission, budding, spore formation, regeneration, etc. So first of all, we will read about budding. Now when we talk about budding, so it is a formation of a daughter individual from a small projection. The bud arising on the parent body is called budding. Budding may be defined as the production of new individual from an outgrowth of the parent individual. You can see here hydra and yeast. Examples are hydra and yeast. You can see a bud is there, or a daughter hydra is there, or a daughter yeast is there, and they, after when they are matured, they detach from the parent body and live as individuals. Now the next method is fission. Fission is a common method of asexual reproduction in unicellular organisms such as bacteria, yeast, protozoa, etc. It involves the splitting of a parent cell into two or more than two separate daughter cells. Or you can simply you can think about that it divides into two. When the nucleus divides, all the nuclear material divides and the cell wall also divides, and it forms two daughter nuclei or two daughter cells. Fission can also be defined as the splitting of a unicellular organism into two or more than two separate daughter cells. Now when we talk about fission, so it is divided into two parts. One is binary fission and the second one is the multiple fission. First of all, we will read about binary fission. So in binary fission, the division of parent cell is like that it divides into two small nearly equal sized identical daughter individuals. The two daughter individuals then grow into adult organisms. So fission of single parent cell result in the formation of two new unicellular organisms. This is known as binary fission. Now we will read about the multiple fission. This is the division of parent cell into several small nearly equal sized daughter individuals. When we talk about this type of fission, in this, when we talk about example, so example is Plasmodium, in which about 1000 daughter cells are produced from one parent cell, each capable of invading a red blood cells. Now what happens here? During multiple fission, the nucleus of parent cells divides several times into many daughter nuclei, and finally multiple fission is done. Now we will read about regeneration. In certain organisms, for example Planaria or Hydra, new individuals can be regenerated from small body fragments. This method is applied by certain organisms for asexual reproduction and multiplication. When we talk about regeneration, so regeneration may be defined as the ability of an organism to regenerate its lost part of the body which have been removed as by injury. Regeneration is common in lower plants. Here you can see regeneration in Planaria and Hydra. Each part of Planaria and Hydra, it develops into a new individual. Now we will read about fragmentation. Here on your screen you can see the example of fragmentation, that is Spirogyra. In this method, the body of a simple multicellular organism breaks up into smaller pieces on maturation when it is fully mature, and each fragment develops into a new individual. Fragmentation is found in multicellular organisms. Cells grow and divide after fragmentation. Pieces of the parent individual grow to form daughter individuals. The products of fragmentation are generally unequal and dissimilar. Now we will read about spore formation or spore sporulation. Spores are very minute unicellular asexual reproductive bodies which get dispersed and form new individuals on germination. They occur in bacteria, algae and fungi. Spores are motile and some aquatic forms. Generally they are non-motile. Now when we talk about that how they are dispersed, so thick covering helps the spores to pass through unfavorable conditions of drought, high or low temperature. Being small, they are also dispersed to long distances by air. Now you must have seen the moist bread left in the open soon gets covered by the fungus. The fungus has a small number of threads called hyphae. Some of the hyphae are aerial and bear blob-like structures called sporangia. The terminal black swelling or blobs are sporangia. Each sporangium contains numerous dark colored spores. The wall of the mature sporangium cracks open to expose spores, and these exposed spores are picked up by the air and dispersed, and they germinate when they are on the suitable place. Now we will read about vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is formation of new plants from the vegetative parts of the plants like leaves, roots, stem, buds, etc. It is of two types, natural and artificial. Both the techniques are used in propagation of ornamental, medicinal, horticultural, agriculture and other economical important plants. Now first of all, we will read about leaves. Vegetative propagation by leaves. In Bryophyllum, the leaves bear buds in the marginal notches. As the leaf comes in contact with the soil, the buds sprout to form new plants. And the example is Bryophyllum. Now we will read about vegetative propagation by stems. You must have observed a potato. It has several depressions or eyes. If we see it with the help of a magnifying glass, so it shows that the depression contains buds. Now cut the tuber into small pieces. Place them over a wet cotton, kept it in a tray, and sprinkle some water. After 2 or 3 days or 5 days, you will see young plants will be there with shoots and roots. When we talk about the natural vegetative propagation by roots, so remember that roots of some plants develop adventitious buds which grow to form new plants. For example, dahlia and sweet potato is a very common example of this type of reproduction. Now, artificial methods of vegetative propagation. First of all, it is cutting. They are small pieces of stems, roots and leaves which are cut off from the plant and used as a vegetative propagules. The cuttings are placed in the moist soil in their natural position for forming new plants. Example, bougainvillea, citrus fruits, etc. Here you can see two stems are joined, and the plant of which we are joining it is known as scion, and on which it is joining it is known as stalk, and this method is known as grafting. Now we will talk about layering. A soft 1-year-old basil branch is defoliated for a few centimeters roughly in the middle. Now the injured and defoliated part is pegged down and covered with soil. After some times you will see that it develops roots. Now this could be done into jasmine, and sometimes it could also be done in the grapevine. Now the next type of artificial propagation is by plant tissue culture. This method includes propagation of plants by culturing the cells, tissues and organs. Now it is also called micropropagation or tissue culture. In this method, the plant cells or tissues are cultured on a sterilized medium containing necessary nutrients and hormones. The culturing of cells or tissues results in the formation of an undifferentiated mass of cells called callus. Callus is a fast growing mass which is then transferred to another medium for differentiation of plantlets. The plantlets are then transferred to separate pots or nursery beds, and when they are matured enough, they are transplanted in the fields. This technique is employed for quick multiplication of commercially important plants such as orchids, dahlia, etc. Now, advantages of vegetative propagation. It is a rapid, cheap and easy method of reproduction. Disease-free plants can be produced. Superior quality fruits or flowers can be produced. Genetically identical plants are possible. Plants raised by vegetative propagation can bear fruits and flowers more than those produced from seeds. Now this is all for today, and in the next slide we will read about the sexual reproduction in plants.